Hey, it's another edition of Wednesday Comics where I, Hartley Holmberg, talk about the stuff that I got from my comic store this week. Of course, this week previews came out, the Marvel version of it, and Metal. Oh my god, did I enjoy the crap out of this issue. Holy glare, Batman. But first, I want to point something out that I just rediscovered this week. I recently refound this amazing George Perez New Teen Titans poster. One of the most seminal runs in comics ever. I couldn't believe I found this thing. I thought I'd lost it or given it up years ago. I think my sister even took this to Jersey at one point. But man, what a thing of beauty, and I apologize for the glare, but this is one of the most fantastic pieces of art I've ever owned in my life. And my God, am I happy to have that back on the wall. And yeah, I'll just give you a quick little look around. I got Fing Fang Film and tons of hero clicks and look at all that stuff. But I digress entirely. Let's get back to the comics and the glare that follows them. So, I don't really have much to say about previews this week. I've got really conflicting emotions with a lot of stuff I'm seeing right now. I'm probably almost undoubtedly going to go back to collected editions to get this Thor run. I really enjoy Jason Aaron's Thor stuff, but I have a really hard time picking up single Marvel Comics issues because the quality is so atrocious. For $3.99, I want to get decent paper, not just garbage. And if I'm going to pay for not so great paper, I'd rather it be in a collected edition with a nice, cardstock cover at the very least, because I don't mind lower quality paper within the confines of a collected edition, but in a single issue where it's just going to lead to the book being more fragile, it drives me crazy. And I probably said that already a couple of times on these, but there's some nice stuff in here that I'm really excited about. The big thing I'm excited about, actually, in this one I'll point out, is the things I'm not excited about so much are all this stupid Wolverine stuff. This precursor stuff is driving me nuts. There it is. This guy. The Avengers No Surrender hardcover. And check out that price point. $50 for the entire run of the comics. That's 16 issues, I believe, in total. One of which, the first one there, this is from the cover of, being an oversized issue. My big hope is they include some of that great backup stuff. Each issue of Avengers No Surrender had a really cool little bit of backstory and history on the featured characters in the book. They probably won't include any of that because, unfortunately, that's usually what you lose going to collected editions. And the big bummer to me about Avengers No Surrender was this book was sold out everywhere. I was getting the first bunch of issues, and there was a bit of a hiccup, and I missed out on like a month's worth of the book, so I just stopped getting it, and I've just sort of been reading it over the shoulder, kind of, as it were. And I can't wait for this to come out so I can properly sit down and read the whole thing, because it started off really, really well, and I was stunned at how much I enjoyed this. Generally, when you get a series with 3 writers, they step all over themselves. Not in the case here. Now, I know you can make the argument that 52, the weekly series from DC, did it really, really well as well. The difference here being is that 52, each different writer would cover a different element of the story. And this is just one big story as opposed to a whole bunch of sort of basically 52 is an anthology that just had a through road through it. This is an anthology. This is just one big story about a group of Avengers. But they have done such a magnificent job of seamlessly blending the different creative teams with the characters they were covering, I'm assuming anyways. It's just been astounding. I've been really impressed with this book overall. So I can't wait to get it for a fairly reasonable price of $50, I believe. If I'm right, that's about $10 cheaper than if you bought them per single issue. And that's another thing I've been very impressed with of Marvel, from Marvel of late. For the longest time, their collected editions did not give you more value financially, and now they do. I really wish I could afford this, man. This Guardians of the Galaxy by Gary Duggan. I would buy the crap out of this. One day, I'm sure I will. And I'd really like to own these too, man. The Thor Heroes Return omnibuses I would just love to own these one day. One day. I think I still have some of the trade paperbacks that are fucking expensive as shit right now, stunningly. And yes, I swear a lot, and I also say ding dang. I'm like an ever switching parental guide. One moment I'm safe for kindergarten, and the next second you shouldn't have your parents around me because I'm a potty mouthed fucking fuck. So first off, we got Metal. Oh my god, did I love this book, and it's almost impossible to avoid the glare, but man. Now first off, let me just point out, you have some great quality paper stock in this book. If you want good paper stock, man, oh, the glare. Man, this is, DC is the company for you. You know, DC gives you regularly great paper stock. And oh my god, the glare is atrocious. I should not have sat at this angle. I thought I was being clever sitting over here. And as it turns out, all I'm doing is giving you all the glare all the time. But I'll try to adjust it by just doing it like this. A little bit, or giving you an angle from down here a bit more. This book, of course, is the finale. Great moments like this. Oh my goodness. And you know what? I don't want to spoil it, but just some absolutely fantastic stuff in this series, in this book alone. And $4.99 for about, I think you're getting at least 30 pages, cardstock, embossed cover, great paper quality in the interior, definitely a slightly higher paper grade than you would get in a normal book. Just fantastic. I just read this last night and I fucking loved it. Next up, we got Flash, Perfect Storm, the conclusion to the Gorilla Grodd saga, and it ended really well. I was really happy with this. The art, I think this is the last issue by, I'm not even going to pretend to be able to enunciate that. I am going to pretend. Apparently, my inner voice is saying, no, try it, dummy. Giandomenico. I'm sure I butchered it somewhat, but man, this is this is definitively the nicest art I've ever seen this guy produce, and I'm a big fan of his work. But man, this book was just beautiful. There were some pages that were just always so great to see Wally West just in his classic outfits, unmarred by any weird history stuff. There it is, classic. But just some really beautiful level of detailing here, and some small panels that I can get right up in that. And look at how good the quality of that is, man. Just really good art, man, with some great coloring. I was really impressed with this book, boy. Oh my, just some good stuff. And man, look at how cool Grodd looks. My favorite part about this book was the conclusion. They managed to just put everything right back to exactly where it should be, and you know, it just impressed as hell. It's really too bad that this is the last issue, because this is by far the best issue he's drawn of this entire run so far. Bendis is coming in. We fixed it with Ivan Rice art, not that stupid Jim Lee crap. Just a great book. So very happy with this conclusion to the Gorilla Grodd saga, leading to, of course, Flash War. So, great book. Highly recommended. Next up, we got the ever-controversial Doomsday Clock. Now, I used to be one of these guys who believed that everybody should just leave Watchmen alone, that Alan Moore got fucked over completely, and what the fuck was DC doing before Watchmen? And then when Michael Cook died, sorry, Darwin Cook, Michael Cook. Who the hell's Michael Cook? I had a change of heart. Darwin Cook's work was so seminal, and his perspective in comics is so seminal, that I did a little reading up, and I absolutely agree with his points that at the end of the day, Alan Moore was hired by DC Comics to do a story about the Charlton characters. And he did a story that they wanted the characters to still be around. The story that he wrote was too definitive. You had too many deaths. So they just said, just make them into your own guys then. And he did, but they were clear as day analogs for the characters that they represented. I mean, you're really not fooling anybody with the idea that Rorschach and the Question are the same guy, or Night Owl and Blue Beetle are not the same. And basically, Captain Atom's been totally turned into Dr. Manhattan ever since. Did they screw him a little bit? Yeah, but did Alan Moore also flip off his big old mouth about the big dumb corporations and all that maybe push them to the point of, well, I guess we'll just keep this in print if you're going to be a jerk about it. It's hard to say that Alan Moore was completely in the right, and at the same time, I'm not going to defend DC for their practices of, screwing over a guy they said they were going to give the rights back to. But at the same time, that was an editor who made that deal with him, not DC Comics themselves, and he should have been smarter. He should have played his politics a little smarter, is my opinion. And don't get me wrong, I'm one of these guys who actually will defend Alan Moore as a human being. Everybody calls him this grumpy jerk. I think he's actually a pretty reasonable guy, but let's be fair here. He was much younger then, and I think he just kind of said too many things publicly that he probably shouldn't have. Now, the first thing that struck me about this volume, getting back to the actual book itself, the paper quality is tremendous. Now, you may have noticed there's a little bit less glare off this because it's a less magazine-style glare paper. The paper's a little bit thicker, and I was really impressed. It feels damn good on the hand. It kind of reminds me more of the original Watchmen paper, actually. And this, of course, is the story. I say, of course, but this is the issue that tells us who the new Rorschach is. And man, that I love it. And something really cool about this is right here, we finally get to see Mothman fly. And as a guy who's a massive Watchmen fan and a massive fan of Alan Moore, I got the original DC Heroes. It was a role-playing game put out in the 80s. Mayfair source book that was kind of stolen from me by a guy I loaned it to who just decided he was never going to give it back. Where they talked, Alan Moore actually did the supplemental material. He gave them all of the backstory and stuff. So one thing that was included in that source book was the idea that Mothman actually was supposed to be able to fly. And we never saw any actual evidence of that outside of that source book that Alan Moore gave the information to. So this is great to see. Finally, we get to see Mothman actually flying as Alan Moore had intended it being part of his history. This book was fantastic. It blew my mind. Oh, I can't wait till the series is done and you can read it all at once. Next up, we got Black Magick, a book that I think is utterly fantastic, but I actually really regret buying this in single format. I think it's a book that will read much, much better in collected edition. Although, having said that, I bought the digital collection of the first trade, and it didn't have, risque, I haven't actually read this yet, so I should stop spoiling it for myself. It didn't have the backup stuff. And there's this cool tech stuff they do in the back of every issue, which is basically this page here, journal entry stuff that's important to the storyline. And the reason I bought the digital trade was because I had skipped or I'd forgotten at least some of those back journal pages, and I wanted to read them all at once. So I thought it'd be easier just to buy. It was on sale for like $2.99 or something on Comixology, and lo and behold, it didn't include them. So the whole fucking reason I bought the goddamn thing to read those back pages because I didn't have to dig through my world of comic boxes. Boned me. Yeah, a little disappointed in that. I'm hoping the physical version actually has them. I should check that out. I'll see if they have it at Taz, and maybe I'll get one of those one of these days, because that'd be way easier than digging through all that. And yes, I have my own beer fridge. Yeah, although right now it's got nothing in it. Next up, we got Teen Titans. I don't know why, but almost every issue of this, I think that I'm not going to enjoy it as much as I do, and then I'm enjoying it. This issue in particular, really, I'm dreading reading it. I don't know why. I'll probably enjoy it. Percy's been doing a solid job overall, so fingers crossed. See, look, my fingers are crossed. I don't hate this book because I love Beast Boy, and I've always been really happy that they put him back to the name Beast Boy from back from those days when he was called Changeling. So next up, we got a book I just can't get enough of. I love this comic so much. Hal Jordan and the Green Lantern Corps. What a great comic. One of the books I've read from this week. This is the conclusion to the He Fights Zod storyline. What's it called? Zod's Will. And what a great book. Now, first off, I got to point out art by Brandon Peterson. I was blown away that they got Brandon Peterson to do this issue of Green Lantern. And man, what a good comic. This, I just keep on saying blew me away because this book blew me away. You got beautiful art. Vendetti's just on fire with this comic. So, man, if you have any love for Green Lantern, buy this damn book. Next up, we got another book that I read this week, The Terrifics #2. And Terrifics #1 was absolutely terrific. #2 is no less terrific. This is all about the hook that makes the team a team. And you get just a little bit of Tom Strong in this issue. And you get the story of the new Phantom Girl. Oh, her story was heartbreaking. But here, look at this. Single comics sometimes get a little fucked up. And this is the opposite of gutter loss. This is the bleed over from the other side of the binding. Yeah. Screwed that one right up. You stupid binders who can't possibly be expected to check every damn issue. Absolutely fantastic. This book is absolutely beautiful. If you have any love of the DC universe and characters like the Fantastic Four or these particular characters, if you love Mr. Terrific, if you love Rex Mason Metamorpho, and you love Plastic Man, you got to buy this book. Just absolutely astoundingly good. Everything about this book is beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. Next up, we got Batman Detective Comics. You know, another great book that DC is putting out right now. James Tynion, the fourth there, he is just proven what an absolutely fantastic writer he is. Initially, James Tynion's main stuff at DC was all basically coinciding with Scott Snyder, and it was hard to tell whether or not the guy would be a decent writer on his own without the influence of Scott Snyder. Well, he proved he's one of DC's best. Now, I haven't read all of this issue. I just read the first few pages, but this starts off with future Batman before he gets taken out in these brilliant little moments, and I really dig this future Batman outfit. It reminds me a lot of the Batman Inc. outfit when Grant Morrison had just brought him back. And nice to see that all fucking bat emblem with the old yellow thing there and pouches. I really miss bat pouches, actually. The current bat belt kind of bums me out a bit. A fantastic book. I can't get enough of Batman Detective Comics, and I'm bummed out that Tynion's run will be at an end soon. Hopefully the guys who follow up are also decent. Next up, we got a James Robinson book, and anybody who knows me knows I love James Robinson. Trinity, The Search for Steve Trevor. I haven't read this one yet. I expect it's going to be just as great as anything James Robinson. He tends to write a lot of life into his characters. And one of the things I love about James Robinson is he writes people talking like people. For all the complaints that people had of Justice League Cry for Justice, when Hal Jordan spoke to Barry Allen and Green Arrow, and, you know, he just sounded like a dude, and I really appreciate Robinson's ability to create dialogue for superheroes that makes them seem like people I'd want to hang out with. I'm desperately trying to avoid glare. That seems to be the angle. Next up, we got another James Robinson book, Wonder Woman, and I'm absolutely loving this run. Everything about this comic to me is working 100%. We got the current dark side going on in this book. We've got some female Furies going on in this book. We've got Steve Trevor going on. We've got her brother Jason. What's going on with this armor? We got all Steve Trevor that's suspicious of him. Great. Just absolutely fantastic. James Robinson, in my mind, was the perfect follow-up writer to Greg Rucka and Liam Sharp's seminal run on Wonder Woman. One of my all-time favorite runs, Rucka, but, you know, I must say, Robinson, he's doing a good job of stepping up. And surprisingly, I actually loved Azzarello's run on Wonder Woman 2. Even though it was nothing like any Wonder Woman I'd ever read before, that was kind of what I loved about it. Next up, we got the Champions, and I haven't even looked inside this cover, so I'm not even going to open it up because I don't want to spoil anything for myself. The last issue had quite the cliffhanger. So I can't wait to see what's going on in this book. I think this is like the penultimate issue from Wade and Ramos, I think. Next up, we got Mira, Queen of Atlantis. The first issue was a good, solid issue. It didn't blow me away, but it was good. It was solid. It entertained me. It picked up the pieces for Ocean Master after Trinity War, and it's following the story arc with Mira. She can't breathe underwater anymore. She was cursed by some magic thing, and as she's recuperating, so too will come her ability. When she recuperates, that's to say, so too will come her ability to breathe air again. As it stands, she currently can't. And as it currently stands, as of issue number 1 of the series, I shouldn't say currently stands, as it stands before issue number 2 in issue number 1, Ocean Master Orm is this sedated dude who's living the life of a surface guy with a family. It's kind of cool. Can't wait to read this issue. Next up, we got The Silencer number 3, a book I read that was fun as hell. This is probably John Romita Jr.'s last issue, at least for a while, because he's doing Kick-Ass. I am really happy with this book, and It's one of these $2.99 comics. Love it. This is a fun comic. It's got great fun action. This lead character, her whole thing is she can create this thing called the Cone of Silence, which doesn't sound like the most effective power, but when you're considering that she's trying to avoid detection half the time, it's a really effective power. And if you're in a big old firefight and you don't want people to know where you are shooting them from, you know, being able to actually create the Cone of Silence is super effective. A really fun book. I can't wait to read the next issue. Next up, we got another book that every issue I think I'm not going to enjoy as much as I do, although to a far lesser degree, Suicide Squad. This has been coming along at a fun pace. I wasn't crazy about the last story arc with What's-Her-Face coming back from the dead and then being a bit of a killmonger. That kind of bummed me out a bit. It seemed to sort of miss the point of the character. I haven't read any of this yet, but as of last issue, this big guy called the Wall, this government super soldier, he's out in his way to kill the Suicide Squad. So I'm guessing he's not going to kill any of them this issue, but I'm looking forward to reading it. And next issue, we got The Demon, Hell is Earth. This storyline with art by Brad Walker. Brad Walker? Craig Walker? Craig Walker? Brad Walker? I'll open it up and find out in a second. One of the things I really want to point out about this book is it's a 6-issue miniseries and also $2.99. I think this is the only miniseries DC is producing currently that is merely $2.99. So it's nice to see that. I've been quite enjoying this book. And oh, it's Brad. It's Brad Walker. It says Brad there. Can you see from the glare? Brad Walker. Holy glare, man. I'm bad at this. Next time, I swear to God, I'm not going to film from this angle because this glare thing is horrible. This book has been, great. I don't want to overstep. It's been fun. I've been enjoying the book. I can't say it's anything great. It hasn't, changed my life or anything. It hasn't done anything super, super amazing with the Demon other than just been a good Demon comic. And if you love the Demon, I recommend this comic. And then next up, I got a couple of trades. I've been a big fan of this imperative, imperative? That's the word I'm looking for. But Actionverse from Action Lab has a really fun line of superhero comics that I quite like. And I actually put in for the Kickstarter for the first issue of Stray #1. And if I open her up here now, one of the things I find really interesting about the Actionverse comics collected editions is they give you literally everything that you get from the book itself, right down to the variant covers and the letter columns and the ads. And there I am. Can I get the glare out of there? Hartley Holmberg. See? There's a little thank you page for the Kickstarter guys. Now, the one thing I didn't like about this take on Stray was they have this really super cartoony and kind of infantile artist in the back portion of the comic. Each issue has like a sort of two storylines they follow, like one present and one back tail stuff. And the tales from yesteryear, they bring out this really simplistic artist, this more sort of cartoony, simplistic artist. And I don't hate his style, but I'm really not crazy about it. And I think there's moments where it just seems a little weak. Again, I don't hate this guy's art, but frankly, he seems a little unprofessional to me. But having said that, I'm sure I'm going to enjoy the fuck out of this comic because I really enjoy these characters. Stray is one of my favorite indie characters right now, superhero characters. Although having said that, I really preferred it when they called him Rottweiler. I think the Rottweiler is a way cooler name for a superhero than the Stray. And there's Midnight Tiger, also a character from their Actionverse line that I really, really like. I would actually suggest that Midnight Tiger's book was a little stronger than Stray's book overall. Sorry, guys. I haven't even put in for any Kickstarters for this guy. But as much as I love Stray, just a little slighter, higher quality from Midnight Tiger. They didn't have that sort of cartoony, infantile looking art that I wasn't crazy about. But look at that price point. I mean, come on. You kidding me? $3.99 issues for $14.99? Do the math. This is just a great, great volume value-wise. Like, absolutely. And a nice spine there, too. Nice little spine like that, the Rottweiler used. And next up, we got a book that I just can't rave enough about. Copra, Man, this Michael Fife guy, and I'm not going to have to worry about any glare because this guy produces these really cool quality books on a really cool sort of matte style paper. Just the feel of it's like nothing you've felt before. He does this really cool thing where he does these little fold open cover things. And even just the name, Round 4. He just called it Volume 4. It's Round 4. Michael Fife is just one of the godsends of the indie comic scene right now. Nobody is doing action superhero revenge comics, as he coins them right there, like this guy is. Nobody. Just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful. And it's like one part super art, one part high-end art experimentation. And I'm just going to open it up, if I can do this easily enough, to this one chapter in the back here where he covers his magical characters. And I mean, you're just talking a storyline that is just, not only is it a wicked head fuck, but it's just this crazy, beautiful, funky art where you're not even 100% sure, like, what is going on. But what you do know is you've been transported to something cool as balls and shit. Which didn't really sound cool, but in my brain, it sounded cool. I mean, just nobody does it like Michael Fife does Copra. He even has this neat little excerpt from his letter column, which, as you can see, yes, he hand writes out his own letter columns, where he talks about a comic he was going to do about his dad, but for whatever reason, he decided not to do it. I guess it probably has to do with the privacy of his dad and not wanting to expose his father's life in a way that he feels is untowards. But he decided to include this one portion that he thought was fit for the world's consumption. And, yeah, Michael Fife. This guy is absolutely one of the best things in comics right now. You can get his single issues through subscription on Etsy. You can just look up his name, Michael Fife, on Etsy, or Copra. You can probably find it there too. Or you can just wait for these beautiful, beautiful collected editions to come out every year or so. So there you have it. Wednesday Comics with lots of glare. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Man, this one ran long. Oh, and tell your friends to subscribe and watch, because, you know, 'cause.